Hey guys, this is another great lesson in parenting, and this is something honestly that it's not just a parenting advice, this is just a good thing in general in life. But since we're talking about parenting, I'm going to apply this to parenting. So the ultimate lesson that I'm going to share in this video is figure out what people's needs are. And when it comes to your kid, figure out what his or her needs are, right? This is something that parents never, especially my parents, I can't generalize other parents, but my parents never, ever got. They'd always think my needs were different. For example, my dad decided to move our family to another neighborhood, and I ended up going to a different high school. And he thought my needs were, oh, this guy, he has to be in the school was just slightly better than the high school I would have gone to. Oh, so he wanted me to be as academically challenged as possible. But in high school, what you really need is you need to build your social skills. So I socially suffered from it. And it just, but whatever. High school is high school. One of my funniest memories was college. And my parents would always try to give me gifts or give me money. And I was like, no, I do work study. I have a scholarship. You're also paying for half my tuition. I don't need more money. And they could never understood that. They just never understood my need. My need was that I fucking hated school. I was lost. I needed some guidance. And that's what I needed. I didn't need money. My parents always were like, yo, let's give you some. I don't fucking need money. And I remember that video I made when I was talking about how I was arguing with my mom over taxes, right? That argument, all I needed was a talk. I didn't need judgment or, my mom didn't understand taxes, so she was trying to argue with me over taxes. That was the one time where I needed some clarity when it comes to money. And the one time I needed clarity when it comes to money, they wouldn't give it to me. You see, this is what I'm describing, what I'm explaining is sometimes you have to talk to your kid, you have to observe your kid, figure out what exactly is he lacking. And I'm not saying that what your kid thinks he or she needs is always right. But what I'm also saying, this is what I am saying, is that sometimes what you think your kid needs is not always what the kid really, really needs, right? My parents made me play violin. It was such a fucking horrible memory, but on my birthday, so it's my birthday, we just had a great party, and my dad just had to ruin this party. He's like, oh, Jerry, I'm going to force you to play violin lessons right after we had a birthday party. And he calls this fucking crazy, the guy's a good violin player, but he's crazy. He had a car accident, so he is not sane in the head. He calls his fucking teachers like, oh yeah, I want you to teach my kid. It's horrible. And it all started on my fucking birthday. My 12th birthday. My fucking dad had to give me. So I didn't need guitar. I didn't need violin lessons. You know why? Because I already had music in my life. I was in chorus. I wanted to sing. But my parents were like, no, we think it's better for him if he plays violin because it gives him appreciation of music. I already fucking had appreciation of music. You see, this is parents not understanding your kids' needs. If they understood my needs, maybe they would have given me voice lessons. Because ultimately, our needs were the same. Their understanding of my needs was ultimately correct, which is that I needed music in my life, except their execution wasn't correct because they couldn't tell what I really needed, which is I had this thing that was fulfilling my need. They had to add an extra bullshit. So I fucking hated violin. I would always snap at myself. I'd get mad at it. It's horrible. And maybe it actually, thinking back on it, the fact that I always get mad playing violin, maybe it prevented me from getting mad at my friends or other things. But violin really, it's horrible, and we wasted so much money because after a while, I just stopped improving. I just mentally didn't want to improve. And one day my parents realized, they're like, we're sending him to violin lessons. He's not improving. And I just told my parents, I'm like, I don't want to play anymore. And it took them realizing that they were wasting their money. On top of that, because I wasn't improving, I looked bad in front of the teacher. So it was all about an image. It felt like it was a judgment on them that they were bad parents. So then I stopped playing violin, but then I wasted so much time when I could have taken voice lessons, and it's just such bullshit. And I have so many stories like that, but ultimately the lesson is understand what your kids needs, and understand when your kids, your understanding of your kids' needs and your kid's understanding of his needs are actually congruent. When they're congruent, figure out, hey, what's the path of least resistance? Is it the path that we as parents laid out for him, or should we just support his path? Right? Because if you guys understand the problem, understand the ultimate goal, why would you force your solution on him when the kid naturally your kid's smart, right? Don't doubt your kid as much as you think. And on top of that, understand when the goals, when your needs, your understanding of the kid's needs diverge, just drop your ego a little bit and figure out if you're doing it actually, if your understanding of your kid's needs, if it's actually for the kid's good, or is it for your own ego, for your own good? Because ultimately it's his life. You're raising a kid that can hopefully be better, that can hopefully contribute to society. I mean, unfortunately for Asian parents, you want the kid to take care of you eventually. But ultimately, would you want a good kid who's successful, who makes a lot of money to take care of you? Or do you want a fucking fuck up who, hates you to take care of you, right? That's something that to keep in mind. So I hope this was a good video. I hope you learned a lot from this, because ultimately if you can start understanding your kid's needs and your kid's understanding of his or her needs, you can expand this to society in general. What does your boss need? What does your friend need? How can you give it to them? This is something so fundamental, and I just don't understand why people don't understand this. People become parents, people become adults, and they still don't know how to understand other people's needs. Maybe we're just doomed because our brains are just so selfish, but that's all I have to say. Honestly, I'm just going to cut myself off here. Let me know what you think about this. How do you develop? I mean, ultimately, this is about empathy, right? A lot of these parenting lessons I've been recording, it's all about empathy. So how can we as a society learn empathy better? Because we have problems right now. We can't understand each other. That's why America's going downhill. So I thank you guys so much for watching, and talk to you guys next time. This was Jerry. Please press subscribe, press like, press the bell button so you get a notification whenever I upload. Looking forward to your thoughts. Bye-bye.